Hi, welcome to Breslov Research Institute web seminar. This is Parshat Matot-Massei. Last year we covered Matos. This year we'll cover Massei. Massei means the travels of the Jewish nation. It's a very interesting parsha where Moshe says, okay, these are the travels of the Jews. Eila Massei b'nei Yisrael, these are the travels of the Jews. Asher yotzu me'eretz Mitzrayim, that they left Egypt. Ve'eila Masseihem l'motzoehem. Moshe wrote down all the different places where they encamped and where they left, and they get to the next one. Vayisu, Mesukois, Vayachanu, B'yams. They got up, they left here, they went there, they moved here, they got there. It's 42 different encampments that the Jews had while they were in the desert from the time they left Egypt until the time they crossed the Jordan River. Okay, 42. Why 42? 42 is one of the names of Hashem, the Ono B'Koach Tefillah that we say in davening is called the name of 42. It has different combinations of Hashem's name. It's also the name that was used for creation. Maaseh Bereshis, the works of creation, is Mem Beis. Maaseh Bereshis is 42. This name, which corresponds to the 42 travels of the Jews in the desert, is the name used in creation. What is the significance of this? Right? Reb Nosson writes, take a look at something. Right? The whole world was actually created for the Torah. Bereshis, in the beginning, the Medrash says, Bereshis Bora Elokim, Bereshis, the creation, was for the word Reshis, which means the Torah. The Torah is called Reshis. So therefore, the whole world was created for the Torah, and the Jews traveled in the desert 40 years. They had 42 encampments, right? And what's the amazing part of it is that it's in the Torah, right? Doesn't matter to you, you lived in New York, you went from Brooklyn to Manhattan, and then you went from Manhattan to the Bronx, and you went back to Brooklyn, and then, I went to New Jersey, and I even traveled once to Virginia, and I made a trip to Florida, and a big deal. I mean, everyone does things like that. What is the big deal that all these travels are written in the Torah? Says Reb Nosson, you should know. You have to know it. You have to know that whatever you do is also Torah. Imagine the world was created for Torah. Whatever you do, you could make it into Torah. So that the Jews, they sinned. They made a golden calf. They had to spend all those years in the desert, right? And what they did was tshuva. They turned back to Hashem, so that their travels and their encampments, were turned into Torah. How do we know? Because they're written in the Torah. And every year we review these encampments. That means that a person, his whole life, he travels for business, he's got to travel to, he's from New York, he got to travel to Jersey, he's got to go to Pennsylvania and to Washington, D.C., and who the heck knows where else, right? Could be to the West Coast, could be to Chicago, could be San Francisco, Los Angeles, who knows what, right? And overseas and whatnot. Hong Kong, people go to Hong Kong, they go to Beijing now, right? A person could turn that into Torah. His life now, the travels that he's made, how is that possible? When he just observes the Torah where he's traveling, right? He gets up in the morning and he puts on his talis and tefillin. He's on the plane and he has to daven. He davens there, right? He eats kosher food. He's careful with the food that he eats, and he takes a lot of care in a lot of other things that he's doing. This is amazing. It's amazing because everything you do could now become Torah. That's what Reb Nosson is teaching us. That anything and everything, every step I take. Furthermore, Reb Nosson has in a different place, he says, a person should know, like Rabbi Nachman has a famous story of a tzaddik who fell into depression. And he just was depressed and he couldn't find any reason for joy. And he looked about and said, maybe this, maybe... Nothing made him happy. Until one moment he realized, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew, Baruch Hashem, at least that much. That is not my fault. My parents got me. Or I converted, whatever. But yeah, then it is his fault, but that's good. But it's not, I didn't have anything to do with it. Hashem did it. So it's pure. That fact that I am a Jew is pure. And if it's pure, I can get my strength from it. So he started being very happy, and he was dancing and joyous, and he felt himself flying in the heavenly worlds, flying thousands and thousands, millions of miles. He was just flying from ecstasy. Not the pill form, but the real ecstasy, the real joy that he was there, happy. He's with God. He's a Jew. But like everything else, it stops. And he felt himself slowly falling backwards, sliding backwards, until he came right to where he was when he started, but not right there, but next to it, right near it. Okay? And he looked and wondered, what is this? I was flying thousands, millions of miles, and here I am, right where I was before, just about. Maybe a little drop moved. What happened? Rabbi Nachman illustrates this with, you take a circle, right? And in the middle of that circle, draw a center point, right in the middle. Then take lines and draw the lines outward towards the outer part of the circle. You'll see that there's a lot of space when those lines reach the outer circumference of the circle. There's a lot of space between the lines. But they all emanate from that center point. So that a little movement of 1 inch or 1 centimeter even from the center of the circle, one little movement of the slightest bit can cause very great distances to show at the outer circumference of the circle. Try it. Grab an empty piece of paper with a pencil and draw a big circle and draw a center point and draw the lines out, and you'll see what it means. Rabbi Nachman says the same thing with this too. The little drop that I do in serving Hashem, that very little bit, it may not be much, maybe just a drop, but I've moved from my place, the encampments. I got up from here and I moved there. I left here and I moved there. Whatever it is that I'm doing, even if it's only a short distance, down here, up in the supernal universes, it goes a very, very great distance. And the same thing is with us, right? Every little mitzvah we do, every bit of joy that we have, every drop of Shabbos that we enjoy, every bit of kosher food that we make sure to eat, every bit of tefillin or tzitzis or prayers that we offer, every good deed to visit the sick or to do something like that, it may seem a small thing. It may seem that way, but it's really worth millions of miles in the supernal universes. Reb Nosson goes further and explains that in Hilchos Eruvin, he says every step that a person takes, every single step, he goes from one world to the next. He's traveling many thousands of miles in Kedusha in order to get to his new destination. All right, this is the importance of understanding why the Torah goes to such great length to record all the encampments, because all of our lives, all of us, we also have encampments. And every one of us gets up in the morning, goes to sleep at night, gets up in the morning, or if you work at night, it's the other way around, whatever it may be. Point is, whatever you're doing, you can go very far in serving Hashem, and it's worth Torah. It counts as Torah, it's part of Torah, and we'll just finalize this parsha with the end of the parsha. First of all, the parsha speaks about the biblical borders of the Holy Land. And then the end of the parsha, it speaks about how the daughters of Tzlofchad wanted to marry and keep the property within the tribe and so on and so forth for the land of Israel. Reb Nosson explains, and we said it last time, in Parshas Pinchas, that this week, though it's in the 3 weeks, the weeks of destruction of the temple and the exile of the Jews, it also teaches us that even in the lowest point, when we're at the verge of being kicked out, or we are kicked out, and we're being exiled from land to land and whatnot, but Hashem, remember, Hashem took an oath that He's going to redeem us and He's going to bring us back to the Holy Land, and therefore, Be'ezah Hashem, the Torah is giving us encouragement to know that we will make it back to the land of Israel. Hashem will bring Moshiach. May it happen soon. Amen.